Over the years, people have asked me so many times, Truthiracy, why don't you make a video that's positive and can help change the world? Versus, just reporting on what has been done. But what can we all do now that we know the information that you're sharing? So, like I explained, the first step is to actually, accept and realize that it does exist and it is real. The second step is to do your research. The third step is the tricky step. You see, the Illuminati will basically leave you alone as long as you're not causing a problem in society, as long as you're not giving solutions on how to overthrow them or beat them. Because the moment that you start speaking the truth is the moment, as history has shown, that all rulers will hang you. So if you actually start a movement outside of the false flag movements that they make, if you actually make a real movement and people start to follow you and listen to you and change, that's when they'll come after you and infiltrate you and overthrow you. So I've actually waited years to make this video. I didn't know when I would make it, I just knew the time would be right. And just this morning, I realized that the time is right. You see, everyone speaks about a revolution. They want to have the anarchists take over, thus throwing down the Illuminati, and then the people can once again rule. The problem is that the people, the anarchists, the ones that want to have a revolution, they are the ones that don't have the concept to actually know how to rule and guide the people. They don't have all the organized institutions set up. In other words, if you overthrew the government today, tomorrow, who's going to run the government? Who are these people that are now going to take over the government? So this is exactly why they go to great measures to make sure that no one does ever actually accomplish that goal, as they actually did. So like I explained, they use the ignorance of the people against themselves, from religion to government, everything. And that's how the few are able to own and manage the many. So we are the body of the Illuminati pyramid. They are the head of the pyramid, which is the pinpoint of the pinnacle. So we are the body and they are the head. The head controls the body. So you see, we are all part of the Illuminati pyramid. I just recently made a video about Jim Carrey and how he came on the Jimmy Kimmel show and did his whole Illuminati tongue symbol. So to the average person watching it, you assume that Jim Carrey is just coming out being silly. Jimmy Kimmel responds going, "Oh, what is that, a gang sign?" And he goes, "Oh, you don't know what that is." And Jimmy Kimmel goes, "No, I don't." The whole thing is scripted from the word go. So anyway, at the end, I show how Jimmy Kimmel is actually the one who was doing the symbol before Jim Carrey even did it. So he was reading his cue cards and he was a little early. You see, my point is that people forget that these are jesters. These are paid actors. So folks, wake up. They do rehearsal shows. They know exactly every step of the way the scripted lines. So Jim Carrey didn't come on the SNL show and say, "Oh, I want to be a horned red devil. I want to be Elvis." No, that's the script they have, the agenda they have, and the actors fulfill what the owners want. So the Illuminati Hollywood film of Dumb and Dumber is got to be promoted. So Jim Carrey is hired to come on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and he either does his job and he performs as directed, or else he is not going to get paid, and he certainly will not be famous. He would be blackballed. So either you play the game or you're out of the game. And if you're out of the game, you're poor and broke. So like I've said for years actually, is that we're all the character of the fool or the jester. We all must perform and be the body for the head. We are all chained to the obligations of the system. So we either do the devil's work, the jobs that we have to do, that we hate, for the system, in order for the system to work the way it is. So if you don't follow the system, you get cut off. So the problem lies in the fact that we allowed wickedness to seed itself and thrive and overgrow our garden by those who control our head. So we must, and we will one day, make sure that the head of those who govern us are us, have our best interest at heart. Real people with real hearts, not these fake jesters, these politicians who do and say anything for self-interest of the order. Have you ever heard the expression that there is a fine line between love and hate? Well, there is a fine line between being in total control and being totally out of control. So since we were kids, they would ask us, well, if you can create a better system of government and everything, then go ahead, try to create it. And we'd write them as, little essays in school and stuff, and realize that, wow, the system they got is really good, and it'd be really hard to make a system work and everything. So I propose an answer to this dilemma, and that is that I say we use the same exact system that they are using today, with, of course, some obvious tweaks. So you see, the system can run just as it is, but instead of taking and raping those huge profits for a small handful of the people that are the head of the body, I say that we share it all with everyone, and we all share the wealth. I mean, seriously, imagine the paradise that we could create and live in. So you see, no one really understands how our system of life works, the matrix they have created for us. Everybody thinks there has to be checks and balances in order for everything to work. But it's the biggest crock of crap ever. The system that we use today is based upon bullshit. You see, there is no checks and balances whatsoever. Trillions and trillions of dollars have been lost by the government, but yet everything seems to be going fine. You don't understand that they print the money for free. They can print all they want, but no, they have to take it from us and make us pay it back to them in taxes and make us feel guilty and donate. Give to your church and registrations, and it goes on and on and on. So our system does not run and flow by checks and balances. So if they could lose 30 trillion over the years, well, then they could actually print 30 trillion and give it back to the people then. You see, folks, the system works as it is. It doesn't matter if you take out 40 trillion or put in 50 trillion. It doesn't matter, because the way the system is set up, all the money and the profits are funneled to a handful of people. And that's the problem. You see, the truth is, they could give each one of us $1 million today of the world. Every person has $1 million cash. What are you going to do with that $1 million? You're going to go out and you're going to spend it, which goes back into the system and flows all through. But they don't want us to have $1 million. They want to have $1 billion or $1 trillion so that we can have $1. So you see, all of the people, or the sheeple, the hard workers, the ones that actually make the system work, the ones that should be profiting off of their hard work, give it all away to those who don't work. So like I said, all we have to do is replace the head. So the head will no longer be self-absorbent and taking all the majority of the profits. So think about it. The banks, they have all of our money in it. Trillions of dollars. And what do we do with our money? We give it to them. We don't use our money for us. So anyway, like I said, we keep the system exactly the way it is, basically with obvious tweaks. Because with everyone happy in the world, you wouldn't need freaking war machines in the world. Okay? People get upset and want to have revolutions and all those kind of things because they're getting raped and pillaged. So anyway, we just keep things the exact same way they are. The only difference is, instead of giving away the trillions and billions of profits away to the freaking little pinpoint pinnacle of the head of the Illuminati, the handful of people who own and run us, instead of giving them the profits, We put the profits right back to us, the people in society. So we, the people, own the Federal Reserve. And we can print the trillions and billions every day like they do. It doesn't matter, the system is flowing. We all have to go to work still. The only difference is, you'll be making freaking millions of dollars that you can go out and spend in the world. We can build, well, not a Disneyland, but we can build, great things, entertainment things, education things in every single city. Imagine it. Trillions of dollars to be spent for all the people that actually live in that city. Not the head of the Illuminati in every city raping and pillaging all the wealth of every city of the world, but all of that wealth going right back to the people. So you know how I always teach about this bipolar, dualistic principle of the Illuminati, the complete opposite, as above, so below. Well, the more I think about it, the older I get, I grew up with them saying that communism is so horrible. I mean, you said the word commie, that guy's a communist. Shit, to me, and even to this day, that word, I feel like that freaking guy raped somebody, he killed somebody, he's a freaking monster, he's a communist. I mean, that's, even, like I said, to this day, I still feel that way. That's just, that word has been, programmed in my mind to believe that that's horrible and wrong. We need free enterprise. But what that really means is, we need to be able to rape and fool the fools. So I'm not saying I'm a communist whatsoever. I'm not saying I'm anything other than a human that was born upon this earth, like everyone else. And like I always say, we all have the same wants and needs. So don't give me this crap about how we're so different, because we're not. And for those that challenge me on that, I challenge you. You make your list of how we're different from one another, and I'll make my long list of how we are all exactly the same. I guarantee the bipolar opposite of this existence, of this matrix that we live in, there is another bipolar existence that would be the complete opposite of this, would be a paradise, would be, a place where all people get along and all people are conditioned and programmed to love one another, to accept one another, not raised with the idea and concept of division, of choosing which team that you want to play on in the game. And we can change our game of life that we live in and play in. We can change that if we just take this small microcosm concept of the ideas that I put here today, and we turn it into, and we plant the seed and turn it into the macrocosm paradise that we all could actually be living in, instead of this freaking hell that the vast majority, and suffering that the vast majority of the world has to go through. So I understand that even the most simplistic things can be very complicated. So I'm not saying that there are not complications and problems to be solved, but we can, and we will, with a positive attitude, we will solve them. So there is no devil that exists out there. This is the devil that plays the character that represents the evilness that you find in primitive man. But evilness is weakness, and anyone that actually has the flowing energy of love within them knows that I speak the truth. Love is more powerful than evilness. So don't wait around for some God to come save you, because what you don't realize is God has already saved you by giving you the mind to grasp and understand and produce the world that you want to live in. You see, God has already saved us all, so God already gave us salvation by giving us our hearts and our minds, which is the only truth that we can truly follow. Thank you for listening. Peace, love, and wisdom. Truthiracy.